Hi, everybody. This is Virginia Milner coming to you for the DeKalb County Library System. And I have had multiple requests and hints about people about earrings who can't wear long dangly earrings because they said it catches in their hair and it glows no matter what they do. So I decided to take the hints, multiple hints, and just do some very simple post earrings. They're going to be very small, not like that. They're going to be very small, not dangly, and super, super simple to make. I'm doing, it's a lot of free form. I've just been playing around with wire and putting some things together. And I wanted to show you how to make the post earrings. Really, it's the post part that you need to know how to do. And then you can wrap around that free form, freestyle, any way you want. But let's go ahead and do this. All it's going to take is wire. That's it. It's going to take 20 gauge wire. And if you want to add a little dangle a little bead, that's up to you, but we're not going to do that today. We're just going to, I might in the kits add a bead or two that you can dangle if you want to. But I think, you know what, I'm going to keep it clean. I'm going to keep it the way I said, and we're just going to do some little wire post earrings. All you need is 20 gauge wire. That's the long and short of it. And you will need your regular tools, your round nose pliers, and they are round because the barrels are round all the way around. They taper up smaller towards the tip and larger down towards the hilt or the base of the plier. Then your square pliers are slightly rounded on the outside and completely flat on the inside. Then you need a pair of cutters that will cut the wire that we're going to use today. You'll need a cylindrical item because one of these, one of the earrings that I'm going to make is going to be a rose. I think we may have done that before, but I'm going to repeat that and show it to you again among the series of others that we're going to do. So you'll need some kind of a cylindrical item. I'm using this stylus because it's a consistent size all the way down. It's not very big, the size of an ink pen. That's all you need, an ink pen. Any ink pen or stylus or something like that. It doesn't have to be a huge cylindrical item. And a ruler to measure your wire. That's it. Let's get started. So the first earring that I thought we would make would just be a nice little infinity shape, which kind of looks like a ribbon when you finish it. So what we need for that, I'm going to cut 2.5 inches. It depends on the size that you want your infinity to be. I'm going to give myself 2.5 inches so that I can have a nice little small dainty infinity shaped earring. So what I'm going to do is measure about 3/8 of an inch, just a little less than half an inch for the post part of my earring. Doesn't have to be too big, just enough to put your little ear. Oh, that's the other thing. I forgot. You're going to need some of these little backs, these little stoppers for your earring. And those of you who get kits, I'll put a couple of pairs of those in there. You can interchange them with all of your earrings. So I'm measuring about a little less than half an inch from the end. I'm going to put a bend in my wire with my pliers, just a nice 90-degree angle, or right angle, I guess I should say, in my wire. Then I'm going to grab my round pliers, and right here at the very back of my wire, the short wire, my pliers are going in the same direction as that short wire is. I'm going to take the long tail of wire. I'm going to wrap it over the pliers and down the side like that. Then I'm going to open my pliers, reposition them back. My wire's trying to turn with me. And bring that wire over all the way to form a loop. So now I have a little loop here. Okay. So guess what I did? I made these a little smaller than I want. So I'm going to open. I forgot what I was doing for a second. I'm just going to cut it off. I'm going to cut that off and let's do it again. This is going to be a teeny tiny little, about 3/8 of an inch from the tip. Bend in my wire. Nice little right angle there. Then depending on the size you want your ribbon to be, or your infinity symbol to be, that's going to determine how far down you go on your pliers. I'm just going to go down about 1/4 of a way because I don't want a huge symbol. I just want a nice sized symbol. So I'm going to go about 1/4 of the way down my pliers. I'm going to wrap my pliers over my wire over the top of my pliers like so. Just like that. So now I have a loop and I still have my post back there. Then I'm going to go beside my loop and beside my post, just like this. So this is what I have. There we go. So there's my little post. There's my loop. I'm going to slide my pliers right beside my loop. Now, if you forget what size this first loop is, just slide your pliers back in all the way until they can't go any further. So that's where I need to put the pliers, the wire again, right at that spot on my pliers. Then I'm going to bring my wire around and over until it can't go any further because the other loop is there. Then I'm going to rotate my pliers and bring the wire around the rest of the way, just like that. So now I have my infinity symbol. I'm going to play this game again. There we go. So now I have my infinity symbol. Take my pliers out. There's my symbol. Go in with my cutters and just cut this off right on the inside of my loop. As close as I can get. Try not to cut off your post. That you need to keep. Cut that off. Here's my symbol. Straighten it out with my pliers. Just make sure that the little tip is backed up against the curve of the wire. And there's my earring. There it is. Ta-da! Straighten out my little back here. The post. Then all I need to do is put on my little back, my little stopper. And there's my earring. Isn't that awesome? Do I have a little? Yeah. People don't like this ear. They think it looks weird. And I know because that's huge. But let's go ahead and put it in there. See what it looks like. And again, you can make this bigger. But if you just want a really small, dainty one, that's all you need. And I had 2.5 inches. I ended up cutting off a piece. So this came from a 2-inch piece of wire. If you want it bigger, make it bigger. But that's all we needed. That's all we needed for this little ribbon. Neat, huh? Okay, next, let's do a spiral because you know how I love them. So let's do a spiral. And for that, I'm going to cut, let's see, 5 inches, 5 inches, because again, it depends on the size that you want. So I'm going to give myself 5 inches of wire. we go. And again, start with a little less than ½ inch. Oh, and by the way, when you do this, if you see that your post is a little too long, just clip off what you don't need. Here's the other one. Here's the other one I made. Ta-da. So now I have a pair. Yay! Anyway, so all I need is just under ½ inch. Again, it's about 3/8 of an inch. You can give it a ½ inch and then snip off what you don't need if you don't think that's enough. And again, I'm going to bend my wire at a right angle to the rest of the wire. Just like that. Up a little bit more. There we go. So there's my little right angle. Then I'm going to grab my pliers. I'm going to do that exact same thing that I did for making my loop for my little infinity symbol. I'm going to grab my wire. I'm going to bring this down just a smidge. So here's the little post. I'm going to grab right here at the bend in my wire, and I'm going to bring that wire over the top and down the side of my pliers. Do not go around those two barrels. You only want to stop at the side there. Then I'm going to open up my pliers, redirect them back to the side here, and bring the wire around the rest of the way. So now I have a loop. Then I'm going to continue to wrap that wire around itself one more time, just like so. Until I have the beginning of a spiral. Then I'm going to grab my square pliers, and it's going to be a little bit of a challenge because you don't have much space down here. And I'm going to grab here on the side. I'm just going to hold on to my wire, push it over as far as I can get because my little post is there blocking me. And I'm going to bring the tail of that wire around little bits at a time, just wrapping the wire around itself to form a spiral. Now, again, it's going to depend on how big you want your spirals to be. Be aware that when you wrap this is the top of your earring. You can see the spiral. I mean, the post is right here at the top. So when I stop and I'm doing a double spiral, this is the top, this is the bottom. So I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. I'm going to wrap it around one more complete time. And there we go. So there is the top. Now it's a little closer to the center. What I want to do is start my spiral over here on the side. So here's the top of my earring. There's the bottom of my earring right there. Top, bottom. Now I'm going to start spiraling in the other direction to create a second spiral on the bottom. And I started out with 5 inches. I have about 2¼ inches left. I used a little less than half for my post. So this must have been about at least 2.5, 4.5. Yes. So this second one it's going to be asymmetrical. And it depends. If you want this top part to be smaller, just wrap it around twice. You can make, do I have one? Yeah. You can make one. I've got several. With a large spiral on the top, small spiral on the bottom, like this one, or you can do the opposite. You can make a large spiral on the top, small spiral on the bottom, or you can make them both the same size. It's entirely up to you. Very freeform, freestyle here. That's what we're doing. Okay, so now I'm going to go to the other end of my wire. I don't know why I'm so chatty today. I'm going to go to the other end of my wire right here at the tip. And I'm going to start my loop. Start my loop. There we go. Now I'm just going to wrap that around until I have a loop. There's my first loop. I'm going to wrap the wire around itself, just like I did on top. And I'll use these pliers until I can't go any further. So there's the start of my spiral. Then I'm going to switch to my square pliers and continue to wrap the wire around itself. And just keep spiraling until I get to the other spiral. Now, you can be really creative with this. For instance, if you wanted it to look like that, you could just stop there. You could just stop there, and this would be your earring. Isn't that neat? I love it. Or you can keep going. We keep spiraling. And then this could be your earring. Let's look at that. Boop, 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 boop. Cool, isn't that neat? But we're going to keep going. I'm going to keep going all the way over. See, there's the top. There's mom. Yes. Keep going. Yeah, there's the top. Let's keep going all the way to the bottom. Until there is no more space. There we go. And there is my earring. It almost came out perfectly symmetrical. I had 2¼ inches left after I had done my first one. No, that's the top. So that would be about right because I started out with 5 inches, used 3/8 of an inch for my post, had 2¼ left after I made my first loop. Get in there. Get in this funny looking ear. Oh, there we go. And there's my, oh, isn't that cute? There's my earring. Put my little back in. And there we go. What could be simpler? Okay, third one. Let's do one that has a spiral and a geometric spiral this time. I'm going to do the same thing. Give myself 5 inches. Okay, there we go. Make my little post. About 1/2 inch. I usually just eyeball it, but we're being good. And I'm going to measure, give myself about 3/8 of an inch, 3/8 to 1/2 inch, whatever you're comfortable with. Go. Make my loop. Now my top spiral is going to be square, and I'll tell you why. Because I've done the geometric spiral on top, and it's really hard to get it to go around. Let's see, around the post. It can be done, but it's not easy. I might save that for another tutorial. So there's my little post. Again, I'm going to grasp back here at the very back of my post, wrap my wire around part of the way until I get to both of the barrels, open up my pliers, reposition them, and push them back down, and then wrap all the way around until I have a loop. Okay, keep wrapping around itself here till I can't go any further. Grab my square pliers and start my wrap. Now, again, it's going to depend on how much you want on top versus how much you want on the bottom. I'm going to go with, there's my top. You know, I could stop right here. Yeah, I think I will. So I just did 2 spirals around. And now the bottom, I'm going to make square. It's going to be a nice size because I've got 3¼ left. Maybe I'll go around one more time because this is the top here. I think I will go around one more turn, one more full circle. Use up a little more of that wire. Okay. And here we go. There's the top, there's the bottom. I have, and I'm measuring from the bottom of my spiral here. That's my measuring point. So I have, again, about 2¼ inches, very consistent. And now I'm going to start a square spiral. So I'm going to grab my square pliers right at the tip, and I'm going to put a very small, I'm going to put a bend in. Now I want to make sure nothing's sticking out the back because I want this to be a very small hole in the center. I don't want a big one. So I'm going to turn it until I've got it right here on the side of my pliers. So I have this little tiny little right angle, and I'm going to go back in with the tip again, right, and grasp the long edge, put a bend in, check, there we go, go back in again, put another bend in, and let's check and see what it looks like. Yes, there we go. Straighten it out a little bit. And yes, that's what we have. Okay, right. Then I'm going to go ahead. Now I could go ahead and just wrap it around this way, but I want a nice sharp bend in my wire. So I'm going to place my pliers just right here, right along the line of that bottom bend. I'm going to bend my wire down and across. So now I have a nice sharp bend there. And I'm going to do that again right here at the right here. There's a tiny little bit of my wire sticking out. Bend and bend. Just like that. Okay. And I'm going to squeeze that a little bit more. So I have not quite as big a hole in the middle. A little bit smaller. Squeeze that in and squeeze that in. And again, this is free form, so it's how you want it. Okay, a little bit of my wire sticking out there. Bend down and across. Down and across. And down and across. And down and across. Down. Now you're going to see, oops, I'm a little too far over. Straighten that up. You're going to see as you get closer to the pin here that you're not going to have as much room to maneuver. So down and across. Now see how that's going to block me? I need to move my pliers out of the way and go across like that. Now, look at what I've got, because what happens as you're doing this is that the wire starts to turn, and I'm going the same way as my spiral, and I don't really want to go the same way as my other spiral. That wasn't what I was after. Although that's pretty neat, but that wasn't my idea. So all I have to do is take my fingers, hold on to one of my spirals and the other of my spirals, and give it a twist because I want this to go in opposite directions like that. So there we go. I can leave it at that, or I can give it one more bend, which is exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to bend that down and across. One more time. And there's my earring. Isn't that awesome? I can roll this over a little bit more if I want to. I don't really need to, but if you want it a little more centered, you can do that. There it is. There's my earring. This is a little off to the side, but that's not going to matter once you get into your ear. Let me show you. And my funny little ear here. Put that in. There we go. There's my earring. Isn't that awesome? Probably not going to be that high. Get down here. There we go. That's probably a little more realistic depending on where your ears are pierced. There it is. Isn't that neat? Okay. And again, if you look at your post, get a little correction there. There we go. If you look at your post and it's too long because it's going to poke you in the back of your, behind your ear, just snip a little bit of it off because it doesn't need to be very long. And you can compare it to some of your other earrings and see how long your post is. So you just clip that off. There's your post. There's your earring. Put the little back on it and you're all set. So that's 3 pair that we've done so far. Awesome. So now the last one, I might do 2 more, but I think I'm gonna stop at 4. I might be lying about that. The last one I want to make is a rose. And again, I think we've done this before, but I thought I would repeat it in case we haven't. I know we've made roses for other things, and it really does make a pretty earring. So what I need for that is a foot of wire. Okay. 12 inches. Now I'm doing 12 inches. If you want a bigger or a smaller one, fine, but I probably wouldn't go less than 12 inches simply because you can cut off what you don't need. But if you make a teeny tiny one, decide it's too small, then you're just kind of out of luck. So what I want to do is take my little cylindrical item that I told you we were going to need, and I'm going to put it right here in the middle of my wire. And then I'm going to wrap the wire around that. Just cross the wires over. Just cross them over. Just like that. There we go. And then I'm going to take, this wire is on the top, this wire is on the bottom, and I'm just going to bring the top wire down, the bottom wire up, just kind of wrapping them around themselves. And then I'm going to do that again. I'm going to bring the top wire down, bottom wire up, just like so. So there's the start of my rose. So I'm just going to keep wrapping, just following the wires around themselves. And not too tight because you're trying to form the equivalent of a rose petal. So just bring it around. And it depends on how loose you want it to be. I'm trying to move my fingers out of the way so you can see what's happening. Just keep going. Nice and loose. to form my little petals. Now, when I get to a certain point, I start crossing my wires under each other. So I'm going to bring this around like so, and then I'm going to go under the wire that's in front of it. I just find that it gives it a pretty look if I do that, instead of just having the wires follow each other. So that goes under, and the next one goes under the first wire. And then the one that's behind it goes under. And now remember they're going out to the side. You don't want them on top of each other or going underneath the wrap. So bring that under again. There we go. And bring the next one under until you have the size rose that you want. I'm going to give it one more little turn here on each one. Oh, that's telling me to get a move on. I might do one more anyway. And give myself one more little wrap around here. And I think I have my rose. Yeah, there it is. And then I take it off, and I like to kind of push the center up a little bit just to get it to pop out. I had somebody in class who can make the prettiest rose just popping out from the center. I still don't know how she did that. Push it out a little bit, sort of like we do with a bead cage. So it'll pop up. Make it a little 3D. Okay, so there's my little rose. Okay, so now I just need to finish off the edges. I don't want this sticking out, and I don't need this other 3 inches that I had left over. Remember that I had 12 inches, didn't need them all. So what I'm going to do is cut the wire right here in half. Just cut it. Straighten one of these wires out. It's going to be right here in the center of my rose. Straighten that out. That's going to be my post. And then the other wire, I'm going to wrap around what's going to be my post. That out a little bit more. Then I'm going to wrap this wire, this other half that I cut, around the straight wire. And I want to hold on to the base of it so I don't pull my rose apart. So I'm going to hold on to just at the bottom where that wire begins wrapping. I'm just going to wrap that around. Let's put a little loop in here around the other wire. Oops, come back here. This gives it a little bit of security. And then I can clip off this end that I don't need. Get that, and push down this little tip. And tuck it down in between. the other wires. Tuck that down in there. So I can't feel it. There we go. And then this little tip, this is going to be my post. I'm going to deal with these in a minute. I just keep knocking it down. So my little post I've got here is way too long. I need to cut it down to about 3/8 of an inch, just like I did with the other. Snip that off. Still a little too long. A little bit more. And you're better off cutting it off small increments at a time instead of making a big cut and then discovering that it's too short. Okay, so there's my post. And now what am I going to do with these ends? Now you can decide to keep on wrapping if you want it a little bit bigger, or you can stop here, clip off that end that I don't need. And make a little half loop. Just turning that down so that the tip is pointing down. And then push that tip down in between those wraps so that it won't scratch. There we go. Same with the other one. Just directing it under my wraps. Clip off that tail. I can use that later for something else because it's at least a good 1.25 inches. So that's good. Make a nice little half circle. Push down the end until it's hidden down in there. A little bit more. Don't want to feel it. There we go. And there's my rose. And if I need to make any adjustments, I can do that. Straighten up my little post. And there's my earring. And again, you're going to use a little stopper on the back. And there's my rose. Oh, isn't that cute? Cute, 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 cute. Okay, there it is, ladies and gents. I am going to do one more just because I can't help myself. So I'm going to grab what is left on this spool. There's not much left on here. I'm just whatever is on here is what I'm going to use. So that's about, straighten this out. Yeah, let's cut that off. Let's get rid of that. I've got about 7 inches here. 7 inches. What are we going to do with that 7 inches? I know. We're going to make a spiral again. So let's go ahead and make a 3/8 of an inch post, right angle, just like before. And what do I want to do? I know. I'll make a spiral. It's so predictable. You know what? Before I do that, do I want to make a spiral? I kind of do. You know what? Before I do that, I had 7 inches. I'm going to cut this little thing off first. Now let's see what I've got left. I've got 6.5 inches. I'm going to go to the middle here. Grab my little pliers. I'm going to slide my wire. I'm right in the center of my pliers. I mean, of my wire. Approximately, I'm eyeballing it. Yep. So I'm going to bring my wire all the way to the back of my pliers just before I get to the hilt because I want a nice large rounded center. So I'm going to bring one wire over the top of my pliers and the other wires going around the bottom of my pliers. And I'm going to go all the way until both sides are laying flat on the opposite side. So now you can see what I've got there. Looks like a little S. So without opening your pliers, slide that off. And it's going to be a little bit of a challenge because it's just going to be. So there is what I have. Yeah. So now I'm going to make a spiral. Now this looks like it's going to be pretty big. I don't know how big I want it, but I know I need my 3/8 of an inch. See, one side of this looks a little longer than the other. I've got two, a little over 2.5, about 2 5/8 on one side and 2.5 on the other side. So I'm going to take the 2 5/8 side, and that's going to be the side that I will use for my post. So I'm going to do my little 3/8 of an inch right angle bend. And I'm going to start spiraling. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to grab the back of my bend that I just made, wrap my wire around till I have a loop. And this time, before I was wrapping the wire around. This time I'm wrapping the pliers around to get the same effect. Okay, get my little loop there. Okay, I'm going to go a little bit further with these pliers. Come on, focus for me. Maybe that'll help. No, it's not focusing. It just doesn't want to. Sorry. That's better. Okay. A little further around these pliers. I'm going to grab my square pliers on the side here, and I'm going to start spiraling. Just start my spiral. Just wrap, wrap, wrap. Straighten that out. There we go. And I'm just going to continue to spiral. Now this is very, very free form because I don't know how much it's going to end up being. So I'm kind of, now see how that's going towards my little rounded thing. I really want this to be over here. So I'm going to flip this around, hold on to one end of my wire and my spiral. I'm going to flip it. Very malleable. So it will turn if you ask it to. And then I'm going to continue my spiral. There we go. So now I'm going to go down to the other side and I'm going to do another spiral. Do I want to round or do I want, what do I want? Do I want a round one or do I want a square geometric one? That would be kind of awesome. Let's go geometric and see what I get. This is my play one. Freestyle all the way. Okay, making a bend just like I did with the other one, just making my bends until I have a square, just like I did the other one. Then I'm going to grab it on the side here, just right on the flat part, just a little bit of wire sticking out. The bend down and bring it forward. Do that again. Down and forward. I'm going to keep doing that. Down and forward. And again. And just keep doing that, just like I did with my other one. Keep going. This is going to be very, very interesting. Like Forrest says, life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. And that's definitely the case here. Flip that around. Now I can stop there. That is one interesting earring. And it's still a post. It's just a little longer. What do you think? Should I? Yeah, okay. People that want small, 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 I will go ahead and put another mend in to get it right under there. And there we have it. Make whatever adjustments I need to make. I'm going to scoop that back a little bit. But there it is. There's my earring. Oh man, that's awesome. There's my little post. Straighten that out. I think it's a little longer than I need. Looks like that's a good 1/2 inch. I'll cut about 1/8 of an inch off of that little tip. Now, the last thing that you want to do after you've done this is take a file and round out these edges. You don't want to try to poke that in your ear when it's sharp like this. You want to make sure that you round out the edges so that you don't have any sharp bits going in your ear, because that will not be pleasant at all. And there's my earring. Isn't that awesome? Oh, this was so much fun. Thank you for everybody who really kind of badgered me into doing these. I love this. I think this is so neat. So now we have several pairs of earrings. Let's see if I can get them all together here. It's kind of hard. You know, I'm going to just put them on my ear here. There we go. My double spiral. My round and geometric spiral. Another round and geometric with a little swirl in the middle. And my little dainty, oops, here we go. My little dainty ribbon or infinity symbol. It's probably the easiest one. And last but not least, the rose. Ow, 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 ow. Sorry, I have nowhere else to put it. There they are, ladies and gents. There are our earrings. What do you think? I like this a lot. I think this is so, so neat. So I hope that you have enjoyed this, because I think these are kind of awesome. all of our little post earrings. And again, I have a bunch of different ones that I was playing around with, but I narrowed it down to these 5 so that I could give you an idea of what you can do. And as you can see, you can pretty much do anything you want with a piece of wire. Ah, I love it. That's it. That's our program for today. Those are our pieces that we've made. That's our artistic vision for the day. I hope that you like this, and I hope that you will let me know if you did or if you didn't, and get in touch with me. My Gmail is jewelrygen20@gmail.com. That's JEWELRYGIN20@gmail.com. Or you can leave a comment on the library YouTube page, which is YouTube, too much light, youtube.com/DeKalb library. That's DEKALB LIBRARY. Or you can leave pictures of what you make, because I love to see those pictures and comments on the library Facebook page, which is facebook.com/DeKalb library. DEKALB LIBRARY. And I hope to hear from you. So until next time, one pair of these is going in my ears because I've got the others here somewhere. Until next time, have a great week. Enjoy your weekend. And as always, we will see you later. Bye-bye.